Our distinguished colleague from Greece mentioned the name of Tomas Jefferson. He was indeed one of the greatest historical figures. But we live in a time when the New York City Public Design Commission unanimously decided to remove the statue of Thomas Jefferson because they considered him to be one of the most shameful pages in American history. This is one of the many examples of negative effects of manipulation with history in and by the media. This draft report is aimed at defining the role of the media, but it seems to disregard the brutal fact that the media itself is in deep crisis. To start with, we should put a question to ourselves, fundamental one. Is such a report really needed, and who are we as politicians to mentor journalists? My answers to these questions are negative. But since I'm a lawyer, I would try to stick to some legal arguments. Terminology used in this report is unfortunately either too metaphoric to have clear meaning or too confusing to have legal connotation. Such phrases as healthy media ecosystem or this being both right and duty are not helpful at all. The draft document I'm going to quote says that, this is a quote, media should be able to stimulate discussions on the right measures to counter the causes and the adverse effects of a crisis and to overcome it, end of quote. Now, the definite article they immediately catches attention. It assumes that right measures are already known. And here comes the question, why media should stimulate discussion on what is already known, and known to whom? At this point, I want to recall the resolution adopted last year by this Assembly on the so-called the right of public to know. I opposed that resolution because it was poorly drafted and full of ill-defined concepts. Unfortunately, I have to oppose this report on the same grounds. The Article 4 is especially troubling. Paragraph 4. It says that media, I quote, help to reinforce the legitimacy of the decisions taken by political leaders. Since when media has such a role? Media has always had the role to question legitimacy of decisions made by public leaders and put them under public scrutiny. Then media somehow out of a sudden is supposed to have an educational role. I simply don't understand it. But this paragraph has its own internal logic because it goes on to say that this must be capable of analyzing and explaining the new obligations being imposed, and etc., etc. Now, this paragraph does have an internal logic, but it is fundamentally wrong. My time is out. I'm ending my speech by saying that I'm going to vote against this. Thank you.
Thank you. Now